abortion is on my mind. Recently, PBS NewsHour aired an article about the difficulty a young woman from Brandeis University had obtaining an abortion. The topic of the news article was that crisis pregnancy centers are really pro-life and anti-abortion alternatives to established organizations like Planned Parenthood that have lost funding. But unlike Planned Parenthood, these crisis pregnancy centers are not really medical centers, as they are staffed by untrained volunteers. Now, as you would expect from PBS, the article was pro-choice and strongly anti-life. And the young woman at the front of the article was also strongly pro-choice, ultimately having had an abortion of a pregnancy that was the result of what appeared to be an indiscretion. The article did not really get into her reasons for an abortion, so there was no discussion that the action seems to have been simply to avoid having to take responsibility for her actions, terminating a pregnancy that was inconvenient. Okay. I believe that the only logical point to declare personhood is at conception. Now, I believe this for scientific reasons, though my beliefs are influenced by my Christian faith. So, I believe that any decision to artificially terminate a pregnancy after that point is killing a person. Hence, I believe the young woman was cold, the PBS article was incomplete, and a problem is that we are not willing to talk openly about all the issues involved in this great argument. I think this is a shame. I'm not condemning the young woman. She is a product of her culture. While this was not explicitly talked about in the article either, here are some factors that I think should be considered. Oh, by the way, I am using AI to help me pull together this information. Brandeis University is a non-sectarian, but has deep historical ties to the American Jewish community, which shapes its culture and values. About 35% of undergraduates at Brandeis identify as Jewish, making it one of the most Jewishly affiliated universities in the United States. Jewish life at Brandeis is vibrant with multiple denominational prayer groups: Orthodox, Conservative, Reformed, Reconstructionist, and others. Now, I knew this before the PBS article and think it is great. A hallmark of U.S. higher education. But it also means that the culture behind the PBS article is specific and not mainstream, nor my culture. Now, I thought about this remembering a poster at one of the Jewish tabernacles near Silver Spring, Maryland, that said, "Reproductive rights is a Jewish tradition." I think this reflects the diversity of America and something I am tremendously proud and supportive of, though I don't agree with the sentiment. The way that Jewish tabernacle meant it. The phrase itself, reproductive rights as a Jewish tradition, reflects a perspective rooted in Jewish law and ethics, which historically emphasize the importance of life, of health, and of personal autonomy within the boundaries of that culture and religion. Until recently, I would say that Jewish law prioritizes saving life, human life, above almost all other commandments. If a pregnancy endangers the life or health of the pregnant person, abortion is not only permitted but often required. Now, many rabbinic interpretations extend this principle of protecting a life to include protecting the woman's health, or to prevent the woman from being exposed to severe suffering, which allows reproductive decisions that protect the overall well-being of the woman to be a higher priority than the well-being of the fetus. In classical Jewish texts, a fetus is not considered a full person until birth. This understanding influences rulings that permit abortion under certain circumstances, especially before viability. Honestly, there is nothing in our Christian Old or New Testaments that literally or clearly disagrees with this Jewish read of the Old Testament and Jewish texts. And finally, reportedly, Jewish ethics often frame reproductive choices as deeply personal, guided by moral responsibility, and in consultation with religious authorities, rather than as absolute prohibitions. As a result, especially progressive Jewish movements like the Reform, the Conservative, and the Reconstructionist branches of Judaism strongly advocate for reproductive rights, seeing them as consistent with Jewish values of justice, compassion, and dignity. And many Jewish organizations in the United States actively support access to abortion and contraception, arguing that restricting these rights violates religious freedom. Here's the bottom line. My belief that personhood begins at the moment of conception is my belief. I know that many share that belief, and among those who share it, many believe, as I do regarding personhood, they believe it as a matter of faith, though I do not. But I also know that many do not share my belief that conception is when personhood starts, including many whom I love and deeply admire. And I know that among those who do not, their belief that personhood begins at birth when the fetus is delivered as a baby is, as it is for my Reformed, Conservative, and Reconstructionist Jewish friends, a religious belief. Though I guess that for many others who believe that personhood begins at birth, it is not a religious belief. Perhaps a more pragmatic scientific belief. In either case, we need to be willing to listen to the other side while living our beliefs. You see, tolerance is called for, though accommodation is not. We will likely never agree on this important point. Does personhood begin at conception? Does personhood begin at birth? Does personhood begin somewhere in between? But I think we can craft laws at whatever turns out to be the appropriate level. Local, state, national, most importantly, personal. That protects the woman, protects the unborn person or fetus, and protects the rest of us in ways that we can feel comfortable with, at least until tomorrow. Oh well.